Part 45. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 452. His. What a great power! Yejing sucked in a breath of cold air, and his feet drew two vertical lines on the ground, sparks and white gas coming out. The body was knocked back several meters by the powerful impact and barely came to a stop. The impact caused a tightness in the chest and a dull pain in both arms. I didn't expect that such a soft creature could have such great power. Yejing hugged the claw legs of the giant octopus tightly and moved all the strength of his body towards his arms. Yejing tightly grasped one of the legs of the giant octopus, bursting out with powerful force and spinning on the spot like a top. The initial rotation speed was very slow, and the giant octopus was swung in the air by Yejing to draw an arc and draw a circle. Then, as the inertia and force gradually increased, the rotation speed became faster and faster, gradually forming a whirlwind. After a dozen turns, the dizzy giant octopus was thrown away. Fly! Pikachu! Naughty! The giant octopus streaked across the horizon like a shooting star and disappeared before his eyes. Now, run! When Yejing took advantage of the giant octopus flying into the sky, he didn't even have the slightest idea of pursuing it. He turned around and ran towards the core of Blue Star without hesitation. He had no way to deal with such a troublesome creature and could only throw it away. Yejing used the fast running technique to cross the torrent of magma in front of him with a long stride and ran away. However, before he could take a few steps, he stumbled again, as if he was entangled in something slippery. When he looked down, a black line suddenly appeared on his face. Damn it, didn't you fly? How could he be entangled from so far away? Yejing looked back and saw that the clawed leg, which was originally only a dozen meters long, had grown 100 meters long at some point, stretched out from the horizon and wrapped around his right leg. How annoying! He was so irritated that he stretched out his hand to pull the clawed leg wrapped around his foot. No matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't break free. It was soft and elastic. The more he pulled it out, the tighter it became. And there was no time for him to think about countermeasures. It was like a spring rebounding. The huge body of the giant octopus in the distance flew across the air along its clawed legs and hit Yejing. Don't. No. 1 second later. Bang. As the giant octopus got closer and closer, Yejing's pupils dilated and his eyes widened. When he was stunned, his whole body was knocked away by the giant octopus. It hurts, it hurts. Ahem. It was like a mountain hitting him, the pain was excruciating, the bones in his body seemed to be shattered, and the internal organs spurted out blood in an instant. Damn it! Yejing spat out a mouthful of blood and stretched out his hand with difficulty, trying to push away the giant octopus pressing on him. So heavy. Even with all my strength, I couldn't push it away from my body. Just as Yejing was struggling, the octopus suddenly turned its head, staring at him with its big eyes, and facing him with its huge black mouth. What's going on? What do you want to do? Calm down. Calm down. Yejing smiled stiffly and didn't know if he could communicate. He always had an extremely ominous premonition. Really? In the next second, the giant octopus's cute black mouth swelled several times, and then jet black juice spurted out. Damn you. Hit right in the cheek. The jet black juice was so close that you could see every drop of it very clearly, and it just sprayed onto Yejing's face under Yejing's horrified gaze. Puff. So disgusting. Get out of here. Anger surged up in Yejing's heart, and unparalleled strength burst out from anywhere in his body. The veins in his arms exploded, and he overthrew the giant octopus from his body. Bah. He took several mouthfuls in succession, but luckily he had forewarned him and closed his mouth tightly. If he took one mouthful of it, he would have thought of death. Go to hell, go to hell, go to hell. Yejing ignored the pain on his body, stood up, and kicked the giant octopus's elastic body with a black face. This time he was really dark-faced. The juice on his face dripped to the ground with his violent movements. Why is it so soft? With Yejing's foot strength, kicking the giant octopus was like tickling it. At the same time, the giant octopus' originally dark red skin was swollen by Yejing's kick, and its body temperature suddenly increased. For some reason, the giant octopus was kicked by Yejing so much that it lay on the ground. Its 8 clawed legs slid irregularly on the ground, and hot white gas came out of its body. Huh. Looks very good. Yejing couldn't help but be stunned when he saw the giant octopus. What's going on? Could it be that he had never seen other creatures before and became happy after meeting me? Or is it not hostile at all? Yejing looked suspicious and kicked him several times as if testing. Sure enough, the temperature of the giant octopus increased a few points, shaking its 8 clawed legs like a tamed puppy. Tisk, it feels so awkward. Yejing glanced at the giant octopus with a look of disgust. He had no time to care about it. He had more important things to do now. That's the juice to cleanse your face. The sticky black juice stuck to my face, it was dark and dirty, and it was extremely uncomfortable. But what should I use to clean it with? Yejing looked around for available water resources. But desperate. This is the inner space of the earth. How can there be pure water? There is no liquid here except magma. Yejing's eyes were fixed on the rolling magma torrent on the ground, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. No way. Do you want me to wash my face with magma? Yejing lowered his head with a very tangled expression. The hot magma was flowing, and in the reflection, he could clearly see the stains on his face. It was black. Or he should ignore it for now and find the core of Blue Star. This thought just popped into his mind and was thrown out. How to act with a big black face? Hey, let's try it first. Yejing sighed, slowly squatted down, squatted by the magma, hesitated for a while, stretched out his hand, and tentatively reached into the magma torrent. The feeling of burning skin made him very uncomfortable. The moment his hand reached into the magma torrent, he could clearly feel that the white shield of the orphan way was falling at an overspeed, and disappeared by 10% in an instant. It's almost time. Yejing gritted his teeth and reached into the lava flow with his other hand. He scooped up a pool of hot lava and splashed it on his face. Rub, rub, rub. Just like washing your face, he scooped up the lava and splashed it on his face. Unlocked achievement, washing your face with lava. It wasn't until the white shield of the orphan's way was about to disappear that he completely washed the black juice on his face. This is the most ridiculous thing I have ever done in my life. Yejing wiped the lava off his face and shook it off. After washing it, he set his sights on the giant octopus in the salted fish state. Alright. Now that I have a ready-made mount, I don't have to travel by myself. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 453. This side carefully crossed the magma, while the other side did not take it seriously. In the boiling magma, as deep as the deep sea, a huge creature was swimming. Generally speaking, the one who flew in the clouds was the dragon. And the one who took a bath in the magma was the dragon. It feels so good. I haven't had such a comfortable bath in a long time. In the churning magma, the flaming dragon shuttled through the magma, and the huge figure suddenly emerged from the deep red, and then swam into the deep layer, making an extremely comfortable sound. Its hard skin was scorching with flames that could melt steel. The flaming dragon was not only bathing in the magma. If you look closely, you can also find that the height of this magma torrent has slightly dropped by about 1 centimeter. It is swallowing the magma torrent. Large pieces of magma flowed into its stomach like drinking water, as if its stomach could not be filled at all. The last person whose stomach could hold so much was Quafu. The flaming dragon stored a large amount of magma in the space of his stomach. At first, it was just a pool. After rolling in the magma for a few rounds, the magma stored in his stomach became a small lake. It increased from a small pool to a small lake, and then from a small lake to a large lake. Roar! A few minutes later, the flaming dragon flew out of the magma with a satisfied look on his face. If it is this magma, it should be able to burn that stinky old man to death, right? Yes, it drank so much magma just to defeat Anthony. It has already imagined in its brain that it would suddenly open its mouth and send out a magma attack during the battle with Anthony. Is the disaster coming? Emperor Wu Tian looked at the top of his head. Although there was nothing above his head, it was just like usual. However, he could clearly feel that a very dangerous breath was gathering on the top of his head. Even as a top semi-saint, he could not accurately perceive this breath. He didn't know much about the first calamity. Not only him, but also other semi-saints, there was no reference to provide information. In the solar system, the only one who survived the first calamity was the World Tree. However, the worst thing was that for some reason, even the World Tree at the top of the solar system could not explain what the calamity was. Then get ready. Emperor Wu Tian's mood swings were not big. No matter how dangerous the first calamity was, he had enough confidence to survive it. If even he failed, let alone other semi-saints. He was preparing to survive the calamity. He didn't notice that someone was planning to escape from the black hole in his body. Hey, can you do it? Shut up and stop arguing. I'm trying to. A little light lit up in the black hole. Zhao Danggong and Gray were busy. They didn't know what was going on outside. They were just trying to escape from the tiger's mouth with their own abilities. Gray stretched out his wings, and the white wings emitted a dazzling light. He was acting as a light bulb. Next to him, Zhao Danggong was squatting on the ground, holding a golden shovel in his hand, digging fiercely at the space below the black hole. It was as if there was some treasure below. In the black hole space, you can't feel the passage of time. You don't know how long it has been now, and you don't know how long you have been digging. Why do you feel so skilled in doing this kind of thing? Gray asked in confusion. Zhao Danggong said casually, practice makes perfect. It turns out that digging more graves has made you skilled. As long as you rely on a determined spirit, even a black hole can be dug through. You are making such a big move, aren't you afraid that the big devil will find out? They call Emperor Wu Tian the big devil, which is very vivid. But it is also true that the black hole is in the body of Emperor Wu Tian. They dig like this, just like digging someone else's stomach. Zhao Danggong said uncertainly, I don't know either. If he senses it, he should come to stop us, right? No, 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 if he really finds out, it won't just stop us, right? Digging through other people's black holes and crushing their bones to ashes is not too much, right? Why bother so much? We'll talk about death when the time comes. After hesitating for a few seconds, Zhao Danggong gritted his teeth and stamped his feet. Almost half of the vitality of an ordinary person poured out of his body and flowed into the golden shovel. Instantly, the golden shovel flashed with golden light, and a light similar to the Buddha's light illuminated the black hole. As the vitality flowed away again, Zhao Danggong's hair turned from black to white in an instant. When his hair was full of white hair, he was really going to die. Fight! Open it for me. Zhao Danggong was full of momentum, and his eyes were almost red. Who knew how long they would be imprisoned, and what would happen after they were imprisoned? They didn't think that Emperor Wu Tian would be so kind that he would send them home after imprisonment. By then, it would probably be sending them to heaven. As expected, life is something that must be controlled in one's own hands. I don't know how long it took, 10 minutes, or 100 minutes. The black hole is still a black hole, without a trace of change. Just when Zhao Danggong was close to despair and was about to inject vitality into the golden shovel again, a small red light appeared in their sight. It's transparent. It's transparent. The moment the red light appeared, Gray was slightly startled, and then he became excited and grabbed Zhao Danggong's shoulder. Dig, dig, dig. We're going out. Zhao was also very excited after seeing the new light on the horizontal bar. He pushed Gray away from the obstacle, rubbed his hands by mistake and stretched out his golden shovel towards the red light. The last shovel. I dig it. As the golden shovel was inserted into the black hole, the red light shone brightly, and the torn gap spread to both sides, and in the blink of an eye it expanded to a size large enough for a person to pass through. Now you can get out of the black hole. However, Zhao Xingbang and Gray, who were still rushing out, stopped. After the two were silent for a while, they started pushing each other. Zhao Horizontal Bar said, "How about you go out first, I will be responsible for breaking up the rear." Gray said, "No, no, no, you have worked so hard, it's up to me to cut off the queen." Zhao Xingbang said, "If you can take advantage of my hard work, can you go out first?" Gray smiled and shook his head, "No." What a joke. If it was sunny outside, they would rush out without hesitation. There would be no trace of ink at all. After all, no one likes to stay in an extremely dark place. But there's a red light outside. There was even a super hot wave coming in from outside. Where are they? I don't know if there is any danger outside, and I don't know if Emperor Wuxian is outside preparing to catch turtles. Therefore, no one wants to take the lead. After a stalemate, Zhao Horizontal Bar suddenly suggested, "How about rock, paper, scissors?" Okay. 1 2 3. Stone. Cloth. Zhao Xingbang walked out of the black hole with a sad and angry look. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. No news. No sound. The sudden silence made Gray panic. He gently plucked a feather and carefully threw it out. Still no movement. Hey, what's going on outside? Speak. Just when Gray fearfully approached the entrance of the black hole, a hand suddenly stretched out from the outside, frightening him immediately. Before he could retreat, the hand suddenly grabbed Gray and pulled him out of the black hole. Just as Gray was about to counterattack with Quanjiu descending from the sky, he saw Zhao Xingbang with a sly smile on his face. Gray had a dark look on his face. Is it really okay to scare people in this situation? It's not too scary. After all, I was shocked when I first came out. Zhao Horizontal Bar pointed behind Gray, "Look back at your back." Behind. Gray turned his head in confusion, not noticing any breath behind him. However, when he turned around and saw that figure, he exploded instantly. Emperor Wuxian was seen calmly suspended in mid-air, his head slightly raised, his eyes staring at the sky above, as if he didn't notice Gray and Zhao at all. He. Gray's eyes widened and he was speechless. He turned his head and glared at Zhao Xingban, and stammered. Snap! Zhao Horizontal Bar lined up on his back and slapped his panic away. Don't panic, look carefully, he seems to be in a state of trance. Zhao Xiangbang said calmly, and there was no sign that he was afraid of Emperor Wuxian at all. This is because it has been adjusted. When he just jumped out of the black hole, Emperor Wuxian was less than 1 meter in front of him. This kind of fright was no less frightening than seeing a ghost later, and almost made him give up treatment and commit suicide directly. He didn't react until later. At this time, Emperor Wuxian was in a mysterious state of trance, with all his energy and spirit gathered together, waiting for the disaster to come, and he had no intention of paying attention to Gray and Zhao Hanban. After staring at Emperor Wuxian for several seconds, Gray was sure that Emperor Wuxian really didn't notice them. Call. Gray breathed a sigh of relief, rubbed his trembling legs, pulled Zhao's horizontal bar and flew away into the distance. Gray lowered his voice and said, "Let's run. We'll explode when he wakes up." However, he did not pull Zhao's horizontal bar. "What are you doing, leaving? What are you waiting for?" Zhao Xingbang secretly glanced at Emperor Wuxian and hesitated. "Isn't it good that we just leave like this?" Gray was stunned. "What do you mean? Do you still want to apologize for digging his black hole?" "I mean..." Zhao Xingbang suddenly took out the golden shovel, with an excited expression on his face and a look of eagerness to try, eradicate the big devil. "It's time for revenge." He swung the golden shovel and hit Emperor Wuxian on the head. "Wait, wait, wait." Bang. A figure flashed past, and Zhao's golden shovel hit Gray on the horizontal bar. Zhao Xingbang looked in disbelief. "What are you doing? Why are you blocking the knife for him?" Gray's expression was even more exaggerated than Zhao's horizontal bar. "Are you crazy? With this thing of yours, you can't even kill me. How can you kill him?" He once again saw clearly the similarities between Zhao Xingbang and Ye Jing. The degree of seeking death between the two people is simply too similar. The smells are exactly the same. When something happens, you don't think about your own safety first, but just take action without caring about the danger. With such an attribute that can bring about death, it is not easy for the two of them to survive until now. If Ye Jing were here, he would probably choose to give Emperor Wuxian a blow. Tisk. Zhao smashed the horizontal bar and smacked his lips, looking disappointed. "Are you really going to leave like this?" Gray nodded firmly, grabbed Zhao's hand on the horizontal bar without hesitation, and then found a random direction and flew away. Who knows if Emperor Wuxian will wake up if he knocks him? If he does, it will only break his bones and scatter ashes. Stay away from danger and start step by step. It wasn't until after flying for more than half an hour that Gray stopped and began to observe the surrounding scene. Speaking of which, what on earth is this place? Staying in mid-air, the two finally had time to observe their surroundings. Endless crimson. Sparks fell from the sky. A torrent of boiling magma. Black flames that burn instantly. Zhao Xingbang sighed. Why did this big devil bring us to such a dangerous place? Gray thought, when we were caught in the black hole, Ye Jing was also with us, right? Where are the others now? There are only two situations. 1. Ye Jing is dead, the probability is 99%. Second, it is possible that after entering this space, they got separated by coincidence. The probability is 1%. Well, it's pretty clear now. Gray looked sad and said with a heavy face, Ye Jing has been killed by the devil. Zhao Xingbang said with a dark face, don't curse others like that. Let's just wander around and see if we can meet other creatures or something. Coincidentally, the two of them moved towards the core of Blue Star. Other side. A disgusting giant octopus is floating in the air. There is a person sitting on the giant octopus's slippery back. Damn, why is its back so slippery? Ye Jing complained. He was lying tightly on the back of the giant octopus, his hands tightly clasped on the smooth skin. Along the way, he has been dumped 7 or 8 times. Every time, I almost fall into the magma torrent, which can scare a person to death. How long is it until the core of Blue Star? I'm so tired. This mount flies so slowly. If it had been Gray, he would have arrived long ago, right? It seems like Gray. It's like changing the mount. At this moment, as if hearing Ye Jing's inner cry, a shocking roar came from the torrent of magma. What the hell? The huge roar shook the octopus, and it fell from the sky. After stabilizing the giant octopus, Ye Jing set his sights on the magma torrent. This roar sounds so familiar, right? Not just the roar, but the look. When the flame dragon flew out of the magma torrent, Ye Jing was dumbfounded. The kilometer-long behemoth splashed up several huge pillars of fire, covering half of the sky. Oh, human. The giant flame dragon raised its head and burped, and what came out was a long flame. Why is it such a coincidence? Why did this big guy show up just when I was passing by? There was no help from Anthony this time. Do you want me to face off against the flame dragon? The previous chapter has been sealed and is being unblocked. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 454. The moment the flame dragon appeared, the giant octopus's claws and legs were all numb, and its whole body was trembling. It fell directly from the sky and floated in the torrent of magma. There is no way, the suppression of this species hidden deep in the bloodline is too strong, so strong that no creature can face the existence of the flaming dragon. It's over. Seeing that the giant octopus couldn't even fly, Yejing wailed in his heart that it couldn't even run this time. What to do? It's useless no matter what I do. As a shadow covering the entire side fell in front of him, Yejing suddenly became desperate. The overwhelming fire lava fell from the sky, and the huge body of the flame dragon floated on the torrent of magma, blocking Yejing and the giant octopus body. From top to bottom, the huge dragon eyes stared at Yejing with a sense of scrutiny. Such a hot gaze, as if his body and spirit are melting together. Panic. A little panicked. Yejing stared blankly at the flaming dragon that was less than 5 meters away from him. After pursing his lips, he silently retrieved his clothes from the black and white cat and put them on. Sure enough, I felt more comfortable after putting on clothes. What's the matter with you? Yejing asked cautiously. Human, the aura of energy on your body is strong again. The flame dragon said calmly, not sure if it was because he was not used to talking to people, or if he didn't like talking to other inferior creatures. After it finished saying this, it suddenly felt an itch in its nostrils. After taking a deep breath, it couldn't help but sneeze. He sneezed towards Yejing. Sparks, magma and hellfire spurted out, covering Yejing's body. The white shield of Orphan's Way is broken and restored after 1 hour. Yejing took a deep breath and wiped the residue on his face expressionlessly. He was neither angry nor dirty. If this sneeze didn't kill him, the flaming dragon would be merciful. Is the energy breath you are talking about the energy produced by the burning of black flames? Yejing calmed down the panic in his heart and pretended to be calm during the conversation. Roar. The giant flaming dragon roared, causing the giant octopus under its feet to almost capsize. Just act like you're responding. Yejing began to explain from the beginning, this black flame is called hellfire. When burned, it will produce a super high energy called abyss energy. The intensity of abyssal energy is much higher than that of spiritual energy. As long as the spiritual energy contained in the body is emptied and converted into abyssal energy, the strength will be greatly improved. Of course, this conversion is irreversible. As long as the spiritual energy in the body is converted into abyss energy, the body's energy container has evolved and cannot absorb the spiritual energy again. In other words, once the abyss energy is absorbed, aura cannot be used. The risk is extremely high. After the hellfire is extinguished, no new abyss energy will be generated. Once the energy of the abyss is exhausted, the man explodes. It's just that the following words are just Yejing's inner voice. There's no need to reveal this kind of information, right? Yejing thought darkly. Anyone who understands that you are good to me and everyone is good to you. If you don't let me be good, I won't let you be good either. Yejing looked at the flame dragon with a smile on his face. I heard that Master Anthony has now begun to absorb this mysterious energy. When it heard Anthony's name, the flame dragon's mood suddenly changed. It had fought with Anthony for several times, and the outcome had never been decided. But if Anthony surpasses it in strength after absorbing the energy of the abyss, wouldn't he become a new dragon-slaying warrior? Human, tell me how to convert this energy. The flame dragon's tone instantly became violent. He stared at Yejing with his vertical pupils, feeling as if he would eat him if he disagreed with him. All right. Yejing shrugged his shoulders, spread his hands pretending to be helpless and said, I'm not sure whether dragons use the same energy as humans. It probably means clearing out a small part of the body's energy container, and then guiding the abyss energy in. Gradually replace Reiki. Can you understand? As if it was an hallucination, Yejing felt a huge exclamation mark appear above the head of the flaming dragon. After being silent for a few seconds, the giant flame dragon slowly leaned down and opened its mouth full of sharp teeth. Teach me or die. Is this a tone of asking for advice? For the sake of strength, I choose to forgive you. Wait until all your energy is converted into abyss energy. Wait until the abyss energy is exhausted. You just know times have changed. First. Yejing thought for a moment and said, you need to sit cross-legged, calm down, and shut up. Flame dragon. What's going on? I know every human word, but I can't understand them when they are put together. Cross your legs. The flame dragon recalled the cross-legged appearance of human beings it had seen many years ago. It first straightened its upper body and stretched its dragon wings to the maximum to avoid collision. Then, two fat legs like hills moved in one direction, pressed against each other, and bent down. Can't lean on, can't stick to, can't bend down. Too fat. The flame dragon awkwardly raised a claw and scratched its forehead. This action is not suitable for me. Yejing covered her face and nodded, sorry, I know it too, you are too fat. Okay, let's just skip this step and start to calm down, right? Peace of mind. One person and one dragon stared at each other blankly. One doesn't know how to explain it, and the other doesn't know how to calm down. Time stopped for a few seconds. Yejing turned his head to avoid the sight of the flaming dragon. How about you try using the usual energy absorption method? Unexpectedly, the flame dragon could show such a troubled expression. Dragon's spiritual energy is automatically restored. What an enviable physique. Now it's not just the flame dragon that's troubled, but also Yejing. It turned out to be so troublesome. Yejing glanced up and down at the open mouth of the flaming dragon, and after pondering for 2 seconds, he said, how about you try eating some fire? The hellfire is surrounded by abyssal energy. How many of them can you eat and see if the abyssal energy will directly melt away the aura after it enters the body? Eating black flames. The giant flame dragon was stunned for a moment, then cast its gaze into the sky full of hellfire. It had been eating magma just now and really didn't think about hellfire. I don't know what hellfire smells like. Try it. The flame dragon opened its mouth and sucked in the direction of the hellfire, and dozens of hellfires were sucked into its mouth along the airflow. Crunch, crunch, crunch. It's not delicious, it doesn't have the hot flame flavor. You don't care if it tastes good or not. Yejing was surprised to find that the flaming dragon's mouthful even had extremely corrosive black spots. It's amazing, this stuttering can remove more dark spots than I can remove in an hour. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bouletin G. Bayet. Chapter 455. He discovered the use of the flame dragon again. This creature that is not picky about food is really great. Yejing kindly reminded, you can eat the black spots as well. It also contains a little abyss energy. Just treat it as a snack. Oh, snack. It turns out that I have always used the demon flame rhino as a snack after dinner. I don't know what the snack tastes like. Demon flame rhino? It's not easy for a heavenly beast to live. The hellfire, the abyss energy, and the sundry black spots were all swallowed into the flame dragon's stomach. Crunch. It seems to have no taste. and there is no change. The flame dragon muttered, and there was no change. Did it eat too little? The abyss energy flowed into the flame dragon's body along with its throat, and then it began to chase the spiritual energy in the flame dragon's body like a policeman encountering a criminal. A little bit of the abyss energy chased countless spiritual energy all over the body, and finally drove a little of it out of the body, and the bird took over the dove's nest. 1%, 2%. I wonder how much faster this conversion speed is than Yejing's. It seems to be really useful. The voice of the fiery dragon rose, and its eyes were like torches, scanning the surrounding abyssal energy. It could clearly feel the changes caused by the energy. When the abyssal energy was converted, it had the same premonition as Anthony and Emperor Wu Tian. This was the premonition of the coming of the disaster. It felt that if the abyssal energy continued to be converted, the first disaster would come immediately. It worked. It really worked. As long as you break through and enter the second disaster of the three disasters, your strength will soar, and it will be greatly enhanced. Once you step into the second disaster first, Anthony doesn't even need to find it, it will go to Anthony first. It's good to be useful. Yejing saw the fiery dragon shifting its attention from him to the abyssal energy, and he breathed a sigh of relief. Then, big brother, you absorb it first, I'll retreat first. Yejing waved at the fiery dragon, twisted the trembling giant octopus under him, and signaled it to run. Woo woo woo. The giant octopus received Yejing's instructions and swam to the side in fear. After bypassing the flaming dragon, it swam rapidly, and its 8 claws paddled in the magma torrent, raising huge waves. The flaming dragon only glanced at the fleeing Yejing and ignored him. After all, what should be known was known, and Yejing was no longer useful. Moreover, it had a premonition that it was about to break the calamity, and if there were others, something unexpected might happen. It was not until it was far away from the flaming dragon that the giant octopus flew up again and flew in the direction specified by Yejing again. At this time, Anthony, Emperor Wu Tian, and the flaming dragon were preparing to cross the calamity. The ice phoenix went crazy everywhere and had created thousands of miles of ice in the Earth's core space. Gray and Zhao Dangang were on their way to the core of Blue Star. If they wanted to reach the core of Blue Star, they needed to cross an obstacle. That was the flaming dragon. About half an hour later, the octopus stopped. It was not Yejing who asked it to stop, but it stopped by itself. It could no longer move forward. What is that? On the stopped giant octopus, Yejing stared at the giant floating in the sky less than 100 meters away with a dull face, shocked. This piece of deep red sky has been completely covered by black flames. Under the huge black flames, a huge sphere floated in the air. The diameter of the sphere is about 50 meters, and the whole body exudes a dark breath. The rich dark breath spreads around and slowly spreads to the entire Earth's core space. This breath is very familiar, it is the abyss energy. The super huge abyss energy is eroding the energy sphere, invading bit by bit. The amount of this abyss energy is even comparable to the amount emitted by Pluto. No, 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 what is this? Yejing rubbed his aching temple, a little bit afraid to accept the reality. Seeing this energy sphere, he couldn't help but think of the energy core in the center of Pluto's body. Calm down first. First of all, we need to determine what this sphere is. Although he said it was certain, he had already made up his mind. Yejing entered the furnace space and hurriedly checked the current location. Sure enough, this is where the core of the blue star exists. Is this the core of the blue star? Yejing looked very troubled and sighed, isn't it going to be swallowed up soon? At the same time, he also understood something about the energy supply core of Pluto. It turned out that the energy core supplied to Pluto was actually the core of a planet. This is really a shocking secret. The creature called Pluto is a virus outside the solar system. It can end an era of the solar system, and its number must be not small. In other words, each Pluto creature contains the core of a planet. I have to say, you are still awesome. Even if the entire solar system is exhausted, only 9 planet cores can be found. I don't know what the cores of other planets will be like, but now it seems that the situation of the core of the blue star is not good. A terrifying atmosphere that shocked Yejing emanated from the inside of the core of the blue star. This breath is also very familiar. This is the breath of Hades. Shocked. Very shocked. Thunderbolt. No way. Yejing stared blankly at the eroded blue star core, muttering to himself. Could it be that a Pluto is being nurtured in this blue star core? Damn it! A huge crisis has appeared. Quick, quick, go and have a look. Yejing hurriedly slapped the giant octopus under him, driving it to fly towards the blue star core. When it was less than 1 meter away from the blue star core, Yejing could already accurately feel the energy aura emanating from the blue star core. Yeah, not bad. It's a nostalgic aura. The aura of the Pluto who almost killed the entire solar system. Yejing almost cried, how could there be another one? The blue star core, which was supposed to be dark blue, has been covered by the darkness of the abyss, and the thick evil aura makes him feel disgusted. Yejing reached out and touched the surface of the blue star core, but there was no sense of reality. The moment his hand touched the core of the blue star, the abyss energy in his body resonated with the abyss energy emitted by the core of the blue star. The dark airflow that originally enveloped the core of the blue star suddenly split into a stream and flowed into his body along Yejing's palm. Huh! Yejing looked at his palm in surprise. This abyss energy flowed into his body like a robber without his consent, occupying the position of spiritual energy. 2%. 3%. The speed of abyss energy conversion increased rapidly. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 456. The abyss energy is rapidly transforming, and his body is unconsciously absorbing the abyss energy from the core of the blue star. However, even if he transforms it into 100% white abyss energy, he cannot solve the problem of the core of the blue star. The core of the blue star is now like an incubator. Inside it, a being that can destroy the entire blue star is being incubated. The abyss energy covering the core of the blue star has been divided into 2 parts. Half of it flows into the core of the blue star, providing incubation energy for the Pluto. The other half is flowing into Yejing's body, driving away the spiritual energy and transforming the abyss energy. Now he is competing with the Pluto for energy. If the Pluto successfully hatches and discovers this fact, won't he eat him alive? No. You can't just sit there and wait for death. Yejing muttered to himself. He ignored the fact that the abyss energy was transforming into spiritual energy and began to observe the core of the blue star carefully. The most important problem now is how to solve the Pluto inside the core of the blue star. Yejing's palm was pressed on the core of the blue star. He could not feel any touch, only a cool breath covered around his palm. He circled around the core of the blue star several times, trying to find loopholes in the blue star. But he could not find any abnormality at all. The core of the blue star is a hole. Even if it is in a state of erosion, there is no gap. Is there no way for me to go in? Yejing was distressed. There was no chance at all waiting outside. Only entering the inner space could solve the problem. However, how to get in was a problem. Yejing looked at his fist and thought of an idea in his mind. He didn't know if he could hammer a hole. He raised his fist and gathered the abyss energy that had just been converted into his fist. It must be said that the intensity of the abyss energy is stronger than the spiritual energy, several times stronger. Just gathering the abyss energy is enough to cause a slight distortion in the surrounding space. An ordinary punch. Yejing gathered his strength, and with the abyss energy, he punched out with his fist and hit the core of the blue star. Bang! The abyss energy covering the core of the blue star splashed a little bit of fluctuations, but it was unscathed. So hard. The core of the blue star was not something he could destroy. At this time, it would be great if I had a golden knife. Ye Jing sighed. Now he didn't even have a weapon in his hand. It was a mistake. He had never fought with his fists, and he didn't even know ordinary fighting skills and strength techniques. Even if he had all the strength in his body, he couldn't use it completely. It's so troublesome. I can only use the most ancient method. Ye Jing glanced at his passive skills. Trigger the God of War combo, increase 1% strength, 1% destructive power, stacking layer 1, full layer 1000. In this case, he could only smash the core of the blue star with one punch. Raising his fist, using the most primitive method, punching the core of the blue star one by one. Combo punch. Bang 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 bang. The speed of the punch was getting faster and faster, and it was swung at the core of the blue star one by one. The speed was enough to create an illusion, causing the surrounding space to shatter, and the vibrating airflow began to disperse. After throwing hundreds of punches, he finally showed a surprised expression. Finally, a crack appeared on the blue star core that he had hammered hard, just a hairline crack. Through this crack, he could feel a slight change, and the breath in the air suddenly changed. A stream of energy flowed out from the blue star core, a semi-pure aura, and a super evil abyss energy intertwined together. The reappearing aura fluctuations changed the dirty aura around. After feeling the pure aura, Ye Jing secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the inside of the blue star core has not been completely eroded, and there is still hope. If he really can't feel the aura inside the blue star, he probably will consider turning around and running away. Keep going. The attack efficiency of the fist is too low, and it is not even 1/10 of the golden knife. He asserted that if the golden knife is used, it is estimated that 100 knives can split the blue star core. As Ye Jing attacked, the cracks on the blue star core became larger and larger, and the semi-pure aura filled the vicinity, which greatly boosted Ye Jing's spirit. 200 punches. 300 punches. 500 punches. His power was getting stronger and stronger, and his destructive power was getting stronger and stronger. What was originally just a gap of a hair was smashed into a hole big enough for a human head to enter. It's finally done, so let's leave it at that. Ye Jing was panting with exhaustion, and he breathed a long sigh of relief. He glanced at his fist, and there was a faint blood mark on it. He didn't dare to destroy the blue star core that was too big, so he just opened a small hole that was big enough for him to enter. After resting for a while, Ye Jing hesitated slightly, gritted his teeth, and got into the extremely dark blue star core. The blue star core was 50 cubic meters in size. He originally thought it would be extremely small, but he didn't expect it to be so big after entering. The internal space of the blue star core seemed to have been expanded more than 10 times, and there were only two colors inside. Black and white. The dark abyss energy. The pure white aura. In the huge space, black and white auras intertwined, mixed, and crossed, forming a pattern similar to the Tai Chi diagram in the air. In the Tai Chi-like pattern, a black shadow can be seen, a figure that is ready to move. Even from a distance, he could feel a strong sense of oppression from the black shadow. Although this sense of oppression seems very weak and immature compared to the real Pluto. However, for him now, he is also very powerful. Near the black shadow, a large amount of abyssal energy is pouring into the black shadow, and the sense of oppression and power is rapidly increasing. That is to say, if he came in early, if he came a few hours later, he probably wouldn't be able to deal with it alone. Quick victory. While the layers of the God of War's combo had not disappeared, Ye Jing hurriedly jumped his legs and jumped into the air. The pure and powerful power shook the space, and he punched out. The impact dispersed the abyss energy and hit the black shadow directly. Boom. The moment his fist struck the black shadow, a strong explosion vibrated in his ears. The shock force caused him to jump out of the air and hit the ground heavily, landing on the back. Hiss. It hurts. Yejing took a breath of air. He didn't expect the space inside the blue star core to be so hard. Then what? Has it worked? Yejing looked up into the sky. The black shadow in the sky was shaken by his punch. The abyss energy surrounding the black shadow suddenly rose rapidly and poured into the black shadow. Speed it up? Yejing looked stunned. Could it be that he felt he was being attacked and was in crisis mode? Too bad. This is different from what he thought. It had no impact on Black Shadow, but instead accelerated his evolution. The young Pluto, which was originally evolving slowly, entered ultra-fast mode, absorbing abyss energy about 3 times faster. Not only that, the pure spiritual energy that originally belonged to the core of Blue Star has also changed. The pure spiritual energy was infected much faster, and a filthy air filled the interior of the space. Like the energy of the abyss, the infected spiritual energy was also absorbed by the young Pluto. He is witnessing the creation of the Pluto creature. As long as all these abyss energy and polluted spiritual energy are absorbed, the young Pluto will be born and evolve into a complete body. At this time, the core of the blue star will become its energy supplier. A fully formed Pluto can destroy Blue Star in 1 day without anyone stopping it. We can't look at it like this anymore. Yejing stamped his feet, flew up, and punched the young Pluto again. Boom! This punch, this heavy punch that caused multiple times of damage, forcibly smashed a crack into the abyss cocoon wrapped in the black shadow. It works. Yejing landed, feeling excited that it finally had an effect. Damn it, without Gray, he couldn't even fly. He was at a huge disadvantage against enemies in the sky. Both attack efficiency and attack power will have an impact. He could only jump into the air and then fall. I really want Gray. If I had known this was the case, I should have let the giant octopus in too. It was as if he heard Yejing's heartfelt voice. The black shadow in the sky finally moved after a gap opened. Nearly immeasurable abyss energy emanated from the black shadow body, covering the entire blue star core in the blink of an eye. Endless energy fluctuations shook the space, and the increasingly powerful energy fluctuations made Yejing feel a strong sense of crisis. The cocoon made of abyss energy wrapped outside the black shadow suddenly cracked. The crack opened by Yejing's attack covered the entire black cocoon in the blink of an eye, and dark waves spread out. A few seconds later, like glass shattering, black light shines, and after a loud noise, the black cocoon explodes. In an instant, the ultra-powerful energy fluctuations had no limit and instantly impacted the entire core of Blue Star. Not good. Yejing was shocked by the rapidly spreading energy fluctuations. He had no time to dodge, so he had to cross his arms in front of his chest to protect his chest. But the next second, he was blown away by this powerful energy wave. 30 meters, 50 meters, 100 meters. Bang. Boom. Click. Ah. Puff. With a scream and the sound of bones breaking, Yejing hit the inner wall of the space heavily, bounced a few meters and then fell to the ground. Blood spurted all over the ground. Detects vitality is endangered, triggers extraordinary physique, and restores to a healthy state. The way of orphans has been refreshed. Nima. Unexpectedly, so much energy was gathered in that black cocoon, and it exploded in an instant and almost killed him. When Yejing just got up from the ground, there was another loud bang. Bang. It sounded like a heavy object falling. The black shadow floating in the sky fell to the ground. Since you can't come up, then I'll come down. Yejing felt as if he heard the voice of the young Pluto. In the blink of an eye, Yejing's breathing became rapid, his heartbeat rate suddenly increased, blood flowed throughout his body, and his adrenaline hormones surged. This change is definitely not a desire for battle. Rather, The sight of the young Pluto was on him. Feeling the intense gaze, Yejing's whole body tensed up. Crisis is super crisis. It was a figure less than 2 meters tall. The whole body was surrounded by black energy. The face and body shape could not be seen clearly. Judging from the rough outline, it should be human-shaped. It is directly the final form of Pluto. Sun God's lackey. It's like a fixed procedure, they will say the sentence when they open their mouth. These 4 words were not spoken, but appeared directly in his mind. We were actually invaded in a place like this. Has the external situation changed again? The voice of the young Pluto appeared in Yejing's mind again. Call. Yejing took a deep breath, suppressed the fear in his heart, and directly entered the fighting state. Sir, no, virus, times have changed. Yejing said lightly. There should be no problem facing the unfinished Pluto this time. He had killed the complete form of Pluto, so why was he still afraid of a juvenile form? Although there was an element of luck that time. Oh. Just because you are a weakling. This is a Pluto with a natural mind. It should be that the individual mind is not completely dominated by the abyss energy. The young Pluto waved his hand, and the abyss energy scattered all over the sky gathered towards him. Yejing waved his hand, and the remaining pure spiritual energy in Blue Star's core gathered towards him. He also has abyss energy in his body, but the amount is rare. Until now, it only accounts for 11%. Infant Pluto controls the energy of the abyss. Yejing controls pure spiritual energy. The entire Blue Star core is only black and white. Behind the infant Pluto, a large area of dark aura emerged. Behind Yejing, a large area of pure white aura emerged. Confrontation in pairs. Once again, Yejing said it was really annoying not having weapons. With the control of the young Pluto, the darkness in the sky pressed towards Yejing. In just a short moment, the pure white aura floating around Yejing was completely suppressed, and the area covered plummeted. He also knows that even spiritual energy that is 100% pure and 100% strong is no match for the energy of the abyss. This is not of the same magnitude at all. Moreover, his control over the abyss energy is extremely weak, and he cannot use both abyss energy and spiritual energy at the same time. He is as much a vehicle as the infant Pluto. Facing the huge abyss energy coming from the sky, Yejing's face showed a trace of ruthlessness, and he could only choose to confront it head-on. He suddenly raised his legs, his figure flashed past, and rushed directly into the abyss energy group. In an instant, his body was surrounded by black fog. When he moved, pure white spiritual energy also moved with him. It's like protection, but also like following your heart. A large amount of pure white spiritual energy covered Yejing and wrapped it tightly, preventing the abyss energy from leaking out. Survive in the cracks. In the dark mist of the sky, pure white spiritual energy stood at the forefront, opening up a path that only one person could pass through, allowing Yejing to move forward and rush towards the young Pluto. Everything is animistic. This spirit also includes spiritual energy. This is not controlled by Yejing, but the self-action of Reiki. The spiritual energy eroded by the energy of the abyss was weak and helpless. When Yejing appeared, the spiritual energy felt trustworthy and naturally chose to help Yejing. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 457. This. Should we turn around and change direction? Maybe, it's better to change direction. On the other side. Gray and Zhao Danggong looked at the behemoth in front of them, sweating all over, communicating in extremely low voices, for fear of waking up the big guy in front of them. Zhao Danggong cried with a sad face, "Why are we so unlucky? We can meet big guys wherever we go. Your voice is too loud." Gray hurriedly covered Zhao Danggong's mouth, and carefully glanced at the giant god in front of him who was like a statue. Hey, look at its state, didn't it notice us? It seems to have entered a certain state like the great demon king Wu Tian just now. In front of them, the flame dragon is in a very strange shape, its lower limbs are bending, and it seems that it can't bend down, and it feels like it wants to lean on it but can't. I don't know where the flame dragon learned this knowledge, its upper limbs stretched out 2 fingertips and pointed them together. It looks like meditation, but it's not learned in a proper way. Around the flame dragon, there was a stream of abyssal energy flowing into its body bit by bit. Is this cultivation? They didn't know that this was not cultivation, but a breakthrough. Take a detour. It's impolite to disturb others' cultivation. Gray whispered. This was definitely not because of fear, but because it was impolite. If you disturb the flame dragon at a critical moment, there is a high probability that you will be eaten alive, right? Detour. Detour farther. Zhao Danggong patted Gray on the shoulder and urged him in a hurried tone. He didn't want to confront the flame dragon. Gray even slowed down the flapping speed of his wings, trying not to make any sound. He took a detour quietly, circled a long way, and after getting away from the flame dragon, he quickly moved forward and flew towards the core of the blue star. Now in the geocentric space, Anthony, the flame dragon, and the Emperor Wu Tian have all entered the state of breaking the catastrophe, and there are countless causal lines entangled with the 3 of them. I really don't know if this geocentric space will be broken because of their tribulation. Or, can this geocentric space withstand their tribulation? The 3 disasters are full of dangers. Don't look at the news that there is no death due to failure in the world. That's because no one is qualified to pass the tribulation. The 3 disasters. The first tribulation is the thunder tribulation. The second tribulation is the life tribulation. The third tribulation is the cause and effect tribulation. Only after breaking these 3 tribulations can one transcend from the semi-saint and become a true saint. Rumor has it, when the world tree passed the first thunder tribulation, colorful thunders were continuous, stars fell, and thunders were transmitted from Jupiter to Blue Star, and the roaring sound lasted for several hours. After the thunder tribulation dissipated, the spiritual energy within 1,000 miles around the world tree was swept away, and the wasteland was everywhere. It took more than 10 days for the spiritual energy to fully recover. Thinking of this, maybe it is better to pass the tribulation in the geocentric space. Blue Star, the demon city, is not something they can toss around. Even if a half-saint was undergoing the tribulation near the demon city, it would be enough to destroy the entire demon city. Not to mention the 3 big guys undergoing the tribulation together. The demon city can't afford it, so let's do it in the Earth's core space. The big guys are undergoing the tribulation. Gray and Zhao Danggong are running away. Only Yejing is fighting alone. In the core space of Blue Star. Too much abyss energy. Yejing rushed into the abyss black fog created by the young Hades, blocking the entire surrounding abyss energy and pressing it towards Yejing. This intensity of abyss energy is enough to directly crush his body into powder. Around Yejing's body, there is an extremely weak spiritual energy. It is this pure spiritual energy that has protected him from harm so far. The spiritual energy opened the way, squeezing out only a small road in the abyss black fog, which is only enough for Yejing to pass. But as he got closer to the young Hades, the concentration of abyss energy became higher, and the road opened by the spiritual energy gradually became smaller. A trace of abyssal energy broke through the spiritual energy, and a ray of darkness mixed in the pure white pierced Yejing's right arm like an arrow. Just a ray of abyssal energy directly broke through Yejing's simple flesh and drew a bloody mark on his right arm. Hiss. Yejing took a breath of cold air, and his scalp was numb instantly. It hurts. It's not just ordinary pain. It's the kind of pain that goes deep into the bone marrow. The abyssal energy only drew a very small bloody mark, but it has such a terrifying lethality. The intense pain made his feet tremble, and his body froze for half a second. It's going to explode. Should I move forward or retreat? If I force myself to step forward again, I might be cut all over by the abyssal energy. This feeling of being cut into pieces is chilling to think about. But if I retreat, everything will return to the starting point. He was not a great magician like Anthony, but just an ordinary warrior. If he couldn't even get close to the young Hades, then what was the point of fighting? He could just turn around and run away. No, I can't retreat. If I retreat, I won't have the chance to get close again. There was only one chance. The pure spiritual energy in the core of the blue star was scarce, so he couldn't waste it. Just letting the spiritual energy clear the way had already consumed a lot of spiritual energy, leaving him no chance to start over. And time was running out, so he didn't have a chance to think about tactics. Now, he could only rush to the end in one breath. In just half a second when he paused, 3 more strands of abyssal energy squeezed in from the pure spiritual energy and shot at Yejing. Damn it! The position was too narrow, and there was no extra space for him to dodge. Yejing gritted his teeth and simply ignored the attack of the abyssal energy. He continued to lean forward. Only by breaking through the abyssal black fog could he escape from being cut into pieces. 3 strands of abyssal energy. 1 strand scratched Yejing's left arm, and 1 strand pierced Yejing's chest. The last strand shot straight into Yejing's eyes. Not good. A hint of black was reflected in Yejing's eyes, and his pupils shrank instantly. He subconsciously turned his head slightly to move the injured part. The last strand of abyssal energy suddenly attacked, brushed Yejing's ear seam, and shot past. Huh. That was close. Yejing breathed a sigh of relief. It was almost there, a close call. If his eyeballs were shot out, he was not sure if he would be able to continue fighting. After a slight pause, Yejing could not help but speed up his pace, facing the darkness in front of him, and continued to rush forward. The distance between him and the young Hades was only about 300 meters. And each of Yejing's big strides was nearly 2 meters. That is, a distance of 150 steps, but it was difficult to take each step. Every step was like stepping into the abyss of hell. The front was unknown. Maybe at any time, there would be an abyss energy to end his life. Only those who broke through the darkness were qualified to fight the young Hades head-on. Pluto seemed to be called a virus, but the young Hades now was more like a living creature. Every time Yejing took a step, several abyss energies shot into his body. And in order to save time, he didn't care about him at all. Anyway, he had an extraordinary physique, and as long as it was a minor injury, he would recover in a short time. Although the pain was still there, if he thought about it, he would just endure it. His body was already covered with bruises. His arms, thighs, calves, chest, cheeks, and other parts were full of blood, and dozens of tiny blood stains hung on his body, soaking his whole body. He did not look back. Behind him, there was already a bloody road, and every time he moved, blood would be lost. Fortunately, his body had a strong blood-forming ability, otherwise, he would have died from bleeding alone. It was really 1,000 cuts? Yejing cursed inwardly, and pain came from all parts of his body, paralyzing his entire brain nerves. With varying degrees of damage to his body, his speed also slowed down. Not to mention the extraordinary physique, even the semi-saint physique could not withstand the bombardment of the abyss energy. Not only was he about to collapse, but there was also a pure aura that opened the way for him. The aura trembled, as if it would completely collapse in the next second. Countless black air currents rushed towards Yejing. The energy of the aura was too weak. Yejing's face darkened. Fortunately, he had thought of a countermeasure before. He hurriedly released the remaining abyss energy in his body to fight against the abyss energy surging nearby. He also had abyss energy, but the amount was very small. He had originally planned to use it to fight against the young Hades. But now it seems that if he does not release the abyss energy, it is estimated that he will not even be able to get in front of the young Hades. The small amount of abyss energy gave Yejing a breathing space and temporarily resisted the abyss energy that was like a rain of arrows. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yejing's speed became faster and faster. 1 second. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. In just 30 seconds, all his abyss energy was exhausted. He only lasted for 30 seconds. But enough. Even if it was difficult to move, 30 seconds was enough for him to cross the abyss black fog. Charge. When all his abyss energy was exhausted, Yejing bent his legs, protected his head with his arms, and rushed out of the abyss black fog as he did at the beginning. He rushed out. After leaving the abyss black fog, in front of him, there was a pile of mosaics. Oh no, it was the young Hades. Compared with the real ultimate Hades, the young Hades gave him a much less oppressive feeling. When facing the real Hades, it was a kind of despair like falling into the abyss, a kind of despair that could make hope shine. But when facing this young Hades, there was no such feeling. Instead, it was a feeling of as long as I work hard, I can kill him. Here it comes. Rushing out of the abyss black fog, Yejing endured the pain in his body and swung a whip kick very smoothly. He is still suitable for close combat. Hundreds of layers of War God combo blessing made his strength and destructive power reach a peak, whip kicks were pulled out, and crackling sounds of breaking through the air were swung. The destructive power that cut through the space kicked the right side of the young Hades in an instant. Bang! At some point, the young Hades raised his arm and completely blocked Yejing's attack. What? Yejing was stunned, with a flash of disbelief in his eyes. He didn't see clearly when the young Hades raised his arm. Each program will input its own areas of expertise. The young Hades' contemptuous voice came into Yejing's mind. Unfortunately, this program is best at close combat. Before Yejing could get over his shock, a black shadow flashed past him in an instant. The next second, Yejing felt a heavy blow to his right side, and his whole body flew across the sky. The powerful attack made Yejing fly dozens of meters away, and he fell heavily to the ground. After rolling several times on the hard ground, he barely stopped. Damn it! Yejing climbed up from the ground with difficulty, and the pain from all over his body almost made him curse. He glanced at his right side, and the huge leg print was clearly imprinted on his waist, and the black blood covered a large area. The severe pain from inside to outside made him panic. Could my kidney be broken by the kick? Don't stand there, Yang Shen's lackey. The voice of the young Hades came to his mind again. Not good. Yejing suddenly felt a very strong sense of death crisis, and subconsciously rolled to his side. The moment he left the original place, a black shadow fell from the sky. The young Hades stomped his feet hard on the ground, and the powerful force made a huge pit half a meter deep on the ground. If this kick landed on Yejing, wouldn't it break his waist? What a close call! Yejing's hands and feet were cold. The young Hades' movements were too fast, so fast that his sight couldn't keep up with the rhythm. Moreover, the young Hades' movements were very smooth. When he saw that the attack missed, he didn't even pause, and directly raised his leg and kicked Yejing. Too fast. Yejing hurriedly raised his arms to protect his chest and his fatal parts. With a fierce kick, Yejing's right arm on top was bruised directly. Counterattack. A real hand-to-hand fight? Without time to think, Yejing grabbed the young Hades' leg with one hand, clenched the other hand into a fist, raised it high, and slammed it into the young Hades' leg. Ding! A metallic sound that didn't belong to the collision of flesh and blood resounded through the core space of Blue Star. The frontal hammering did not react to the young Hades, but Yejing's face twitched. It hurts. It was like he punched the obsidian. The obsidian was fine, but his fist was red and swollen. The young Hades' body, whether in hardness or energy density, was far superior to his. How could an egg hit a stone? Interesting. The young Hades' voice had emotional fluctuations for the first time. Some kind of emotional change made the young Hades more like a living creature. What on earth are you? Where do you come from? Yejing gritted his teeth and asked fiercely. He only had a vague guess. If you want to know, give me some pressure first. The young Hades said lightly, and he swung his leg and threw Yejing into the air. As Yejing went up to the sky, the young Hades also went up to the sky. Bang 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 bang. The phantoms continued, and the black shadows flashed in front of his eyes. Every time the black shadows swayed, Yejing's body was hit hard. The continuous blows in a short period of time put a huge pressure on Yejing's body. Blood was flowing from all 5 orifices, and even his consciousness was a little blurred. I'm going to die? What should I do? Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bouletin G. Bayet. Chapter 458. If we follow the program, the young Hades should be an artificial intelligence. I just don't know if this is an artificial intelligence with biological added, or a biological with artificial intelligence. The physical and close combat abilities of the young Hades are fully utilized. There is no pause between each attack, and the fluency of the action is far beyond that of ordinary people. In mid-air, the attack of the young Hades made Yejing powerless to resist, and he could only passively take the beating. Under the attack like a storm, he could only protect his fatal parts with difficulty, keep his will clear, and wait for the opportunity to counterattack. He remembered that he had a passive skill that could counterattack. Waiting for it to be triggered. Damn it! He is now like a hanging sandbag, and can only take the beating. Until all the bones in his body were almost broken, until his extraordinary physique recovery speed could not keep up with his injuries. The long-awaited counterattack opportunity finally came. When attacked by melee, the counterattack storm is triggered, ignoring the current damage, and counterattack the divine storm, making the enemy angry and stunned for 1 second. Instantly, an invisible energy shock burst out from Yejing's spiritual sea and spread to all directions. What is that? When the young Hades felt this spiritual storm, it was too late. Its consciousness, or the spiritual server, trembled and entered a brief pause. Is this a magical skill? What magical skill? Magical skill? This is obviously a skill. Yejing didn't have time to think about it, and seized the precious second to counterattack. He suddenly turned over in the air, his body was above the young Hades, and he stepped down from top to bottom. The air was not his home court, and it was even his weakness. Only when he was on the ground, he had a chance to fight back. He stepped down high, holding back a rage that had been hit dozens of times, and stepped hard on the head of the young Hades. Only by stepping on the head can he vent his anger. The impact force exploded, stepping the young Hades from the sky and smashing it heavily to the ground. Boom! Even if he stepped on the ground, Yejing did not loosen his legs. After a second, the spirit of the young Hades recovered, and his consciousness also cleared up from the brief pause. It seemed that it did not feel the humiliation of being stepped on the head, and it reached out to grab Yejing's ankle very calmly. Then threw it out. It was just a very ordinary throw, with slow speed and strength, and Yejing easily stabilized his body. The young Hades slowly stood up, and for the first time, it looked at Yejing squarely. After a few seconds of silence, he asked, "Why do you have magical skills?" "Another magical skill?" Yejing frowned and exhaled, "Can you say something I don't understand? From the beginning, what Yang God? What Ghost God? What magical power? I don't understand. No one knows what is outside the solar system. Either it was said by Hades, or it was said by the young Hades. What he wants to know, the young Hades will not say. What can the young Hades want to know? What can he say? Talk about Nema coins. Don't you understand? The young Hades said calmly, then I'll beat you until you understand. Ha ha. Yejing sneered, gritted his teeth and said, I'll give you the same words, and I'll beat you until you say everything. Interesting. As soon as the young Hades finished speaking, its figure disappeared from the spot, a hurricane swept through the space, and dark phantoms lined up and rushed towards Yejing. What a fast move. Yejing's face was solemn, his hands crossed in front of his chest, his eyes were shining, staring at the figure of the young Hades, not wanting to miss a single change. He was predicting and observing the movements of the young Hades. From the legs to the arms, from the arms to the hands, every change was not missed. Got it? Yejing's pupils shrank, one hand moved up 10 inches, and just stopped. The next moment, a fist wind came in his face, and the sharp air scratched his face painfully. Bang! The fist of the young Hades hit Yejing's palm directly. Wow! The powerful force and impact made Yejing's palm red, and his feet dragged 2 long slip marks on the ground. He retreated more than 10 meters before he stopped. Hiss! Yejing took a deep breath and his eyes widened. Although he took the punch, the force and pain were transmitted from the palm to the arm. It was a slight tremor and vibration, which was piercing. Where is your magical power? The voice of the young Hades once again came into Yejing's mind. This was not the first time. He always felt that this young Hades was more intelligent than the complete Hades. The complete Hades gave him the feeling of a wild dog that had lost its mind. And this young Hades was like a real life. My supernatural powers or not, I can't even use mystical arts, what supernatural powers can I talk about? Yejing snorted coldly, and clenched his numb palm forcefully, tightly grasping the fist of the young Hades. Then he pulled it hard. At the same time, when the young Hades' body hit him, his other arm was stretched out, and his elbow hit the young Hades' chest. Hard. There is only one word, hard. The elbow hit, and a large piece of the abyss energy covering the young Hades' chest was dispersed, revealing the dark flesh inside. With the blessing of hundreds of layers of God of War combos, his power and destructive power are not weaker than those of the infant Pluto. Now for the analysis. Baby Pluto only has strength, speed, destructive power, mobility, physical skills, and fluidity, and there is nothing that can be his opponent. By the way, there's not much left, right? It's a bit interesting. Long-winded. One blow is sure to hit, and the second blow falls after hearing the sound. Just like when the young Pluto attacked him, he couldn't stop when he seized the opportunity. A flurry of blows came from Yejing. Elbows followed hard punches, and in the blink of an eye, more than a dozen combos were fired, followed by a faint sound of breaking through the air. Yejing's attacks are getting faster and faster, but the speed of the young Hades is even faster. With nearly perfect dodge, most of Yejing's attacks failed. Even the attacks that could not be avoided were resisted with his extremely hard body. Close combat is different from long-range combat. For long-range combat, just use energy to blast wildly, but close combat requires physical coordination. Once there is a slight flaw, you will be plunged into crisis. In Yejing's combo, there was only a pause of less than a fifth of a second. Such a very short pause allowed the young Pluto to seize the opportunity to counterattack. Bang! When his whip legs were thrown at young Pluto again, young Pluto suddenly changed his rhythm, and his upper body fell backwards without any warning. This was not about leaning back, the whole body of the young Pluto was lying directly on the ground. Flat angle. Empty. Yejing was shocked. The inertia of his body made him want to retract his legs immediately, but it was impossible. It's broken. The young Pluto had already entered the body that was close to falling to the ground and bounced back up again. While leaning forward, one hand had already grabbed Yejing's leg. Oops. Yejing gritted his teeth and tried to jerk his legs, but it was too late. Following the movements of young Pluto, Yejing's entire body was lifted into the air. Then it hit the ground hard. Bang. Lift up again. Hit the ground again. Bang 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 bang. It's like hitting a mallet, lift it, drop it, lift it, drop it. Every impact made Yejing's internal organs slightly shaken. With every impact, Yejing couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Interesting, ha 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 ha. The verbose voice of the young Pluto came to Yejing's mind again, as if he was having fun and laughing. Damn you. Yejing cursed secretly, biting the tip of his tongue and trying to regain some consciousness. When he was hit to the ground again, Yejing raised his hands and clasped his fingers tightly on the ground, with traces of blood flowing out of his fingertips. His 10 fingers were forcefully inserted into the ground, forcibly fixing his body and preventing the young Pluto from lifting him up. The severe pain from his fingers to his heart made his face twitch uncontrollably. Just such a movement made the young Pluto's lifting force pause slightly. Taking advantage of this gap, Yejing twisted his body and rotated 360 degrees in the air, freeing his legs from the control of the young Pluto. Call. The young Pluto looked at his empty hands and suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Yejing was tired, Yejing was injured, Yejing was wheezing and panting, and her whole body was in severe pain, and it was in the same state. It has not completely absorbed the abyss energy in the core of Blue Star. It hasn't even touched the energy at the core of Blue Star. It only absorbed a little of the aura eroded by the energy of the abyss. Not to mention the larvae, it is not even a semi-finished product now. It was in a state of evolution, but was forcibly broken through by Yejing. Not only was its energy supply insufficient, its body was also in a semi-finished state. In this situation, Yejing felt uncomfortable, and so did the young Pluto. The young Pluto was tired just from beating Yejing. Then let's end it? Young Pluto thought to himself, anxious to finish off Yejing. He still had to go back to absorb energy. Game over. Young Pluto said in a calm tone. When it waved its hand, the color of heaven and earth changed. The energy of the abyss fell from the sky, surrounded and gathered around it. Call. Between every breath and every breath, countless abyssal energy flows down its throat and into its body. In an instant, the sound of crackling metal collisions came from the body of the young Pluto. Explosive power. The body of the young Pluto seemed to be violent, and its body circumference increased sharply. A frightening and terrifying power emanated from it, pressing towards Yejing. Yejing's face suddenly changed and his expression became tense. His body was in pieces. Even if he was recovering, he would not be able to return to normal in a short time. Boom! A roar suddenly sounded, and the young Pluto suddenly exploded within a radius of 10 meters, from the ground to the space. His figure changed and disappeared instantly. Oops! Out of sight? Yejing subconsciously wanted to retreat, but there was no time. A heavy punch without warning hit Yejing directly in the abdomen. Bang! Yejing's pupils swelled sharply, as if half of his eyeballs were about to explode. The severe pain coming from his abdomen made him stop breathing. His whole body froze suddenly, leaving him without any chance to react. It's over. With one blow, the black fist of the young Pluto hit Yejing's head. This punch, reflected in Yejing's pupils, is getting closer and closer, getting bigger and bigger. A strong sense of death filled his whole body. This is a punch that cannot be avoided. Yejing was enveloped by the breath of death, his expression changed drastically, and his breath was locked, so he couldn't avoid it at all. Could it be that the War of Sorrow is about to be hit? This punch was resisted by the War of Sorrow, so what about the next punch? The difference in strength is not obvious, but the difference in energy is too big. With the blessing of the abyss energy, the young Hades is almost invincible. A punch. It hits the center of Yejing's forehead. Suffering fatal damage, triggering the War of Sorrow, resisting this damage, and greatly improving physical fitness, gaining 30% attack absorption recovery, lasting for 1 minute. Oh! What's going on? This punch, which should have been a fatal blow, did not cause any damage to Yejing at all, which made the young Hades very confused. Not only did it not cause any damage, he also felt the significant improvement in strength coming from Yejing. Frenzy. Another magical power. The tone of the young Hades gradually became serious. Could it be that there are creatures in the outside world that have escaped from the solar system? Or have the hidden relics been discovered? The young Hades looked thoughtful, and although he was a little suspicious, his attack never stopped. It's a magical power, just treat it as a magical power. Yejing's eyes were fierce, and after a fierce roar, he was about to take the initiative to attack, but his body suddenly froze. A dazzling white light suddenly lit up on his body, and a sacred and inviolable breath followed, shocking Hades. This is God's breath. The abyss energy around Hades suddenly trembled, shaking irregularly, indicating the violent fluctuations in its heart. God's breath. Between the Jedi, the gods are coming. The glory of God covers you. The gods are coming down. Autumn. The voiceover of the black and white cat. What is this? The gods are coming down. Yejing's expression trembled, and his heart was filled with waves like strong winds and sea waves. After being shocked, he was ecstatic, because he knew that the time for a real counterattack had come. Divine light. The incomparable divine light enveloped him, which was a mysterious energy that had never existed before and had never been seen before. The divine light appeared without any signs, completely covering Yejing's entire body. At the moment the divine light appeared, all the injuries on his body were completely restored in an instant. Whether it was physical strength, endurance, or scars, they were cleared in the blink of an eye and directly restored to the most perfect state. Is this a gift from the goddess of life? Love it? This is the second time that Yejing has felt such an explosive increase in strength. The first time was in the battle against Hades, when he was facing despair. He triggered the abyss-level passive skill hero. In 1,000th of a second, he got the kind of strength that was enough to kill gods. This is the second time that he has obtained the divine light, which is a strength that can compete with gods. The sudden divine light from the sky shocked the young Pluto, who had always been calm and composed. The programs in his brain went blank and he stood there in a daze, at a loss as to what to do. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 459. The memory of divine light has always been the deepest and most secret memory in the young Pluto program. That is a memory that has never been forgotten, as if it is deeply imprinted in its mind, and it has no right to forget it. Divine light is one of the signs of becoming a god. It is the most pinnacle existence in the entire universe. The Yang god who had been defeated and the Nether god who had been victorious, the divine light of these two gods was enough to cover the entire universe. Why did that kind of divine light that was absolutely impossible to compete with appear on Yejing? Without warning, ethereal, 1 second he looked like an ordinary person, and the next second the divine light burst out. Could it be said that his body contains the blood of God? Or is it that a long, long time ago, there was a certain god from the kingdom of God who visited this remote galaxy and was born in one shot, leaving his bloodline? I don't understand, but its program simply cannot search for such profound information. Incomprehensible emotions caused hesitation in his thinking. But, in other words, incomparable divine light appeared on Yejing. It means that it is going to end. Yejing's whole body was filled with white and pure divine light. Every ray of divine light contained the energy to destroy everything. Every ray of divine light was filled with terrifying energy. His condition returned to its best the moment the divine light came. Physical, mental, speed, strength, observation, reaction, etc. all attributes have been greatly improved. It is impossible to predict the level of improvement. But now, Yejing feels that he is awesome, indescribably awesome. He looked down at his fist and had an illusion. He felt like he could blow up a sun with one punch. He looked at his feet again, rubbing them on the ground, thinking that his current starting speed should be faster than the speed of light, right? You call this divine light? Yejing's eyes were like torches, and he felt confident for the first time when he looked directly at the young Pluto. This is divine light, who are you? The young Pluto's tone was trembling and he couldn't help but take 2 steps back. This was the first time he had taken a step back since facing Yejing. This was something completely unexpected, and it had to panic. Even the stability of the basic procedures could not calm the fear of the divine light in its heart. Because this huge virus army belonging to Yushin was mass-produced by Xuanhuan. Yejing smiled. Who is he? Do you believe that I am your grandfather? As soon as he finished speaking, he jumped out with a whoosh. Hearing a broken sound, his whole body turned into a ray of light. The speed is too fast, I can't see clearly. The infant Pluto's expression changed dramatically, and he immediately turned from offense to defense, mobilizing all the abyssal energy in the core space of the existing blue star to protect himself tightly. Pity. It's too late. Yejing didn't give it a chance to mobilize the energy of the abyss. The young Pluto didn't even raise his hand, and Yejing had already rushed in front of it. Tooth for tooth, punch for punch. Yejing turned his defense into strength at this moment and punched out, causing the core space of blue star to change color instantly. Shining brightly, the dazzling divine light illuminated the entire space, and the crackling sound of space shattering followed. Just one punch broke the space. Boom. The punch touched the body, which was comparable to the impact of a meteor. The power of the planet explosion instantly cleared away the abyss energy surrounding the infant Pluto, revealing the body inside. The energy of the abyss was directly defeated and scattered in all directions. Without the blessing of the abyss energy, the young Pluto had no power to resist. He punched it in the abdomen, and the whole fist was dented. The offensive was as powerful as the earth-shattering, and the banging explosions shook the space. Destroyed at a touch? Although the young Pluto was only hit on the abdomen, its whole body trembled violently, with cracks covering its entire body like ice cracks. With a bang, and only less than a second of stiffness, the young Pluto's body was blasted out like a cannonball. Bang! There was a loud noise that spanned half of the blue star's core space, directly hit the inner wall, and then fell. The extremely hard inner wall was hit by a powerful impact and cracked 10 meters in an instant. If it weren't for the strong internal endurance of blue star's core, this punch might directly penetrate it. Seeing the power of this punch, Yejing looked excited. It took him several seconds to hold back a word. Awesome. But I am uneducated and can take over the world with just one word of awesomeness. It's so cruel, when will I really have this kind of power? With a casual punch, the powerful enemy who had been unable to fight before was stunned and beaten without any resistance. It's a pity. This is not a power that belongs to him, it is only a temporary possession. Just a casual punch caused about 1/20th of the divine light on his body to disappear. There are no more moves at all, and the divine light given by the gods will dissipate. What a pity. Yejing sighed secretly. He wanted to beat the young Pluto for a few hours just to vent his anger, but it seemed that he had no chance. There was no dust in the core space of blue star. The infant Pluto fell to the ground and paused for 10 seconds before slowly moving. It was a struggle at first, and then it was difficult. His front body moved first, his arms supported his upper body, and he stood up very stiffly. The abyss energy that originally surrounded it has suddenly dissipated, and its flesh is covered with tragic cracks, as if it will be broken in the next second. It is indeed the divine light, which can bless a mortal to this extent. The young Hades has realized what he is in. He did not praise Yejing for being strong, but said that the divine light is strong. Yejing snorted coldly and shrugged his shoulders to show that he didn't care. As long as he can defeat you, let alone the divine light, even if it is the green hat blessing, I will bear it and it will pass. 1/20th of the divine light can throw a punch. He has few opportunities to attack. Now it is the kingly way to deal with the young Hades in a short time. A reminder, although their era is over, our era has just begun. Yejing said lightly. After speaking, he stomped his legs on the ground and attacked the young Hades. The flash of light was like lightning and thunder. When he appeared again, he had appeared in front of the young Hades. You had a good fight before, now it's my turn. Yejing looked ferocious, his fist burst, and the brilliant divine light destroyed everything. Raising his fist of light, he transformed into Ultraman and punched the nearly shattered body of the young Pluto again. He did not give the young Pluto a chance to condense the energy of the abyss, and his first punch was a killing punch. Did I ask you to stand up? Then, the young Pluto was hit against the inner wall again and fell stiffly. The inner wall of the blue star core was hit hard again, and it was more than half a meter inward. Perhaps, if it continued like this, the young Pluto would not die, and the blue star core would be broken. Once again, the young Pluto was hit to the ground again, and there were more cracks on its body, almost all over its body. Who? For some reason, Yejing, who had just been restored to a complete state by the divine light, was panting after just 2 punches, and even his muscles were sore. The 2 punches just thrown with his right arm and right fist. Now his arm can feel very stiff and sore. He can feel that if he gets hit again, his arm will be broken. Moreover, this kind of muscle pain cannot be recovered even by a supernatural physique. What's going on? Yejing was shocked. He shook his right arm slightly. This was totally incomprehensible. He just received a long beating, but his right arm didn't do this. But now, the beating broke his arm. I see. Several abyssal energies slowly flowed into the body of the young Hades. The energy supported the young Hades to stand up. How can an ordinary person like you bear the divine light? The energy gap is almost across a universe, comparable to the physical gap between 2 dimensions. You can't control the divine light at all. Yejing was stunned. So that's it? The reason for this situation is that the divine light is too strong and he is too weak. His body cannot withstand the powerful energy of the divine light. Even if it is used for a short time, it will cause great damage to the body. It's bad. Only 2 punches crippled his right arm, so what's next? If all the divine light is consumed, he will be crippled. Quick fight, quick decision. Yejing shot a murderous look at the young Hades. Now, it depends on whether he will collapse first or the young Hades will be broken by him. Switch hands to attack. Yejing's other hand, left arm exploded wildly, clenched his left fist, and the heavy force cut through the space. The dull sound of breaking through the air shook and reverberated, and with a bang, it hit the young Hades' head directly. Fatal blow. The abyss energy that the young Hades had just condensed was immediately dispersed by the divine light. If the abyss energy completely suppresses the spiritual energy, then the divine light is the ancestor of all this energy. No demons and monsters can resist it. The young Hades, who was unscrupulous before, was completely crushed after the divine light descended. There was no power to resist. The rhythm was reversed, and the 2 sides switched. Before, the young Hades grabbed Yejing and beat him. Now Yejing pressed the young Hades to the ground and rubbed him. It depends on who is more lucky. The abyss energy in the sky had no place to be placed, and it wandered around in the core space of Blue Star like a wild dog without a master. Yejing would not give the young Hades the opportunity to gather the abyss energy. Before the young Hades got up, Yejing swung 2 punches and slammed the young Hades' body into the ground. The originally flat core space of Blue Star had been beaten to pieces by the battle between the 2. The ground and the inner wall were full of pits, and the scattered abyss energy and spiritual energy were intertwined. The young Hades' head, which was like a mosaic, was hammered into the pit by Yejing. It was completely flattened, and the head was smashed into a flat oval shape, and it didn't look like a person at all. Huff, huff, huff. Yejing exhaled a few deep breaths, his face showing pain. His arms were folded down as if they were broken, he couldn't lift them up even if he wanted to. Not only were his arms paralyzed, but his physical strength was also greatly weakened, he was exhausted. I didn't expect that the burden of the divine light on the body would be so great. No way to resist. The young Hades was thinking about his way to win in his mind. The result was 0. He couldn't resist the divine light at all. He was made of the divine light of the ghost god, and the divine light was his father to him. The only way to win now. Either wait until the divine light is completely dissipated, or wait until Yejing's body collapses. Damn it! The young Hades regretted that if he had known this would happen, he should have ended Yejing earlier and not given him the opportunity to descend upon the divine light. Even if he was given control of the abyss energy now, he would not be able to resist. After taking a breath, Yejing stepped on the body of the young Hades, looking down at him from above, and said calmly, "Go ahead, tell me everything you know." "What?" The young Hades seemed to have heard a funny joke, and it naturally understood what Yejing wanted to ask. "Even if I told you, can you let me go back and continue to evolve?" Yejing shook his head. "Don't dream, I will let you go back and reincarnate." "Still want to live? I won't beat you into a meat paste." After a few seconds of silence, the young Hades said, "My birth was an accident. There are not many ghost army like me in this remote and poor galaxy. But it's only now. Once the information about the resurgence of the new era of the solar system is spread, the ghost army will come, and you can't resist it at all." Yejing's expression changed slightly. Now the solar system is completely closed, how could there be news? The young Hades sneered, "That's just you don't know. From ancient times to the present, the solar system, this special galaxy, will not be abandoned." Knowing too little, he couldn't understand what the young Hades said. However, he caught a piece of information. "You mean, the solar system still has a channel of contact with the outside world?" Yejing was shocked. Since there is a channel of contact with the outside world, why has no one discovered it so far? Is there any other unexplored place in the solar system? Sure enough, you don't speak unless you are beaten. Yejing stepped harder, looked down at the young Hades and asked, "Where is the passage connecting to the outside world?" The young Hades said indifferently, "Do you think I will betray the phantom god? I am just a mortal creature. If I evolve successfully, even if you have the blessing of divine light, you are not my opponent." Its tone was full of gnashing teeth and unwillingness. "The ultimate Pluto?" After a slight pause, Yejing sneered, "You probably don't know, when I was on Pluto, I killed a creature similar to you. It was a creature with 3 forms. 3 forms. The young Hades was shocked. How is it possible? That's a real soldier of the Phantom God Legion. A real Phantom God warrior is a being comparable to the Saint realm. Could it be that the current solar system has broken through the limit and can break through the true Saint? It's impossible. The solar system is still in a sealed state, and it should be impossible for anyone to break through the true Saint. This is the God Seal. Could it be that the Yang God's forces have revived?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bouletin G. Bayet. Chapter 460. The solar system is very small, very remote, very weak, and very low level. But, the solar system is awesome. In the vast universe, there are many gods throughout the endless years, but the most powerful ones are among them. There are only two gods, Yang Shen and Yu Shen. The Sun God and the Ghost God share the universe. Among them, Yang Shen comes from the solar system. This is also the reason why Yu Shen wants to destroy the solar system in the fall of the Sun God War. After the destruction of the solar system in the last era, Yu Shen's subordinates completely sealed the solar system. Except for the remnants that escaped, all others were destroyed. After blessing the gods, it is not easy to reach semi-saint in the solar system, and it is even more difficult to break the three disasters. The three disasters have been like this, let alone the true holy realm. Under the divine seal, it is basically impossible for anyone in the solar system to reach the holy realm. And in this environment, the Lingyushan Legion buried deep in the solar system is the most elite existence. As long as the true saint does not emerge, the Yushan army will be invincible. But after the young Pluto heard that Yejing had killed a perfect nether god soldier, he couldn't help but feel horrified, and his brain was almost fuming as he searched for consciousness. How is that possible? Could it be that there are other creatures helping? It's impossible. Such existence cannot exist in the solar system. Of course it didn't know that the reason why it was able to kill that Pluto was because it gathered the combat power of half the galaxy and finally added Yejing's cheating. Yejing looked thoughtful. If, as it says, there really is a channel in the solar system that connects with the outside world, where would that channel be? One of the most suspicious places is the bottom of the star sea. It was a bottomless darkness, a place no one had ever reached. At the bottom of the mysterious sea of stars, only the gluttonous old man who belonged to the previous era had slept at the bottom of the sea of stars. It is not known whether he has reached the lowest level. Secondly, he really couldn't think of any place that could become a channel for communication outside the solar system. However, we can't draw any conclusions. After all, even Blue Star hasn't been fully explored yet. For example, this inner space of the Earth has just been discovered. Are there other spaces like this available elsewhere? No one knows. Got very important information. Yejing took a deep breath and smiled bitterly in his heart. It was better not to know about this kind of thing. Knowing about it would make him even more afraid. He still has more than half of the divine light on his body, and the young Pluto may not be able to withstand a few divine attacks. However, while Yejing was thinking, the young Pluto was not without action. It quietly gathered a piece of abyss energy and pressed towards Yejing from behind. A large amount of abyssal energy condensed and formed, gradually forming a dark and profound black sword. The black sword stabbed Yejing from behind, sneaking up on Yejing's back. Just now, Yejing's thinking and attention were all focused on what the young Pluto said, and he did not notice any changes. It wasn't until the heavy sound came from behind that he became alert. He turned around suddenly and saw a huge black sword shooting at him. Hiss! Yejing's pupils tightened, he was unexpectedly attacked. He retreated hurriedly, trying to find an opportunity to defend himself. Unfortunately, it's too late. A black sword completely condensed from the energy of the abyss pierced into the sacred light. The abyss energy that completely crushed the aura faced the legendary divine light head-on at this moment. The sound effects dedicated to energy blasts exploded instantly, and the ear-splitting roars continued one after another. Then, no more. When the tip of the black sword pierced the divine light, it disappeared in an instant. From the tip of the sword to the body and finally to the handle, it completely disappeared. It was directly wiped out by the divine light, and no trace of it existed. Yejing. He looked confused, his body was still in retreating defense mode, and his expression was a little panicked. His body and expression froze. What's going on? What happened? I haven't moved yet, why are you gone? The black sword used by the young Pluto for a sneak attack was destroyed by the divine light without even touching Yejing's body. Isn't this too overbearing? Sure enough, divine light is the strongest existence. The murmuring voice of the young Pluto spread into Yejing's mind. Call. Yejing felt the coming divine light. After destroying the black sword, he only consumed 1/10 of the divine light. Awesome. After being stunned for a moment, Yejing stared at the young Pluto with murderous intent. As expected, facing such an enemy, he couldn't let go at all. If that's the case, then just kill him. Just follow your Yushin father and get out of the solar system. Yejing's killing intent was awe-inspiring, and his unabashed murderous intent was almost condensed into reality. The divine light all over the body is mobilized and condensed into one, and space and time are trembling. He can no longer use his left and right hands, but in addition to his hands, he still has legs and feet. All the divine light gathered on his right leg, and the dazzling white light spread all over his body. All is over. In the world of divine light, he seemed to have transformed into a ray of light. A foot covered in divine light directly stepped on the fatal head of the young Pluto. A fatal blow. Go to hell. Under the fearful gaze of the young Pluto, its head instantly shattered into pieces. What it fears is not Yejing, but the divine light. As the head of the young Hades shattered, its body was covered with wide and long cracks in the blink of an eye, and the cracks tore its body apart, accompanied by a powerful loud noise. The body of the young Hades was completely shattered. Countless energies burst out from the young Hades body. There was abyss energy, spiritual energy, and other inexplicable energies, all released at once. It's over. The powerful energy impact instantly overturned Yejing, and the hot breath caused by friction burned his body red. The impact force blew him from one end of the core of the blue star directly to the other end. Bang! Explosion! It hurts. When the young Hades died, the divine light that originally enveloped Yejing gradually dissipated, leaving him with no divine light at all. Huh, it's finally over. Yejing lay flat on the ground, looking exhausted, as if his body was hollowed out. Indeed, his body was hollowed out. The moment the divine light appeared, the remaining abyssal energy and spiritual energy in his body had been squeezed out of his body. Now the divine light is gone, and there is not even a trace of energy in his body. Moreover, the recovery of his body to full state before was also due to the blessing of the divine light. Now that the divine light is gone, his body suddenly became weak. In the 0-point state, both the spirit and the body have reached the limit. He is now lying on the ground, without the strength to move. Let's rest for a while. Yejing gasped for breath and closed his eyes to recover. With his extraordinary physique, he will recover in no time. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 461. Yejing couldn't move. But the scattered energy didn't care. After losing the carrier of the young Hades, the energy in the core space of the blue star all turned to Yejing. Whether it was the abyss energy or the spiritual energy, after floating in the space, they all poured into Yejing's body. Yejing. He was still resting with his eyes closed. When he reacted, the scattered energy had already entered his body. What's going on? Why did it come to me? If it was only the spiritual energy, he wouldn't care. But not only the spiritual energy, but also the abyss energy. The two energies poured into his body at the same time, constantly impacting his already exhausted body. The meridians hurt, the blood vessels hurt, the organs hurt, and the nerves hurt. It was as if the body was going to explode. Yejing's expression twitched, and drops of sweat flowed down his cheeks. The veins in his paralyzed arms were bulging. Two energies. A pure black abyss energy. A pure white spiritual energy. The two energies intertwined and merged in his body, black and white exchanged, gradually forming a pattern similar to the Tai Chi diagram. After the two energies merged together, the majestic energy exploded instantly. Bang bang bang. The energy in his body was like fireworks rising into the sky, shining brightly and then bursting out. This is. Yejing suddenly opened his eyes wide, he felt the violent energy in his body, and a word emerged in his mind. Destiny. He was going to break through. And it was a passive breakthrough without any preparation. When the destiny was born, the energy floating in the core space of the blue star seemed to be controlled by someone, gathering on his head. The sky and the earth changed color. The black and white energy clouds gathered on the top of Yejing's head, and according to some rules, they flowed into Yejing's body bit by bit. Only after entering the realm of destiny can one truly control the energy outside the body. Below the realm of destiny, one can only control one's own energy. Only after entering the realm of destiny can one control and absorb energy unscrupulously outside and during battles. The spiritual energy surged between the wave of his hand, and the sky and the earth changed color between the flip of his hand. Moreover, if we talk about the perception of those below the destiny realm and those above the destiny realm, the biggest difference is the ability to fly. After entering the destiny realm, he can control the energy unscrupulously, walk in the air, and fight in the air. This skill can be mastered by anyone with intelligence. The breakthrough time is very short, only a few minutes. When his body is completely transformed, his control and understanding of energy will be further improved. Is this the destiny? I don't feel anything. After stabilizing himself, Yejing sat up. He slightly sensed the changes in his body and muttered a few words with some dissatisfaction. I feel that my strength has not changed much. That's right. His opponents and enemies have never been in the destiny realm. They have been big guys from beginning to end. The ones he remembers most clearly are either Zhao Danggong or the golden armored knight who once chased him in the Crescent Moon Empire. Zhao Danggong is in the underground palace realm, and the golden armored knight is in the extraordinary realm. Any more enemies would either be high-level extraordinary beings or Hades creatures. Therefore, even if he broke through the destiny now, it would not bring him the excitement of a breakthrough. Perhaps that day, after he became a semi-saint or even a true saint, he would feel the excitement of a breakthrough. Still too weak. When he got rid of the aftertaste of the breakthrough, he looked inside his body. Don't forget that in addition to the spiritual energy that entered his body just now, there was also abyss energy. When he looked inside himself, he was shocked to find that the proportion of abyss energy in his body had increased significantly. From about 10% at the beginning, it increased to 50% in one breath. This is good news and bad news. The good news is that the proportion of abyss energy has increased, and the abyss energy he can use has doubled, which is very effective against enemies who use spiritual energy. The bad news is that after the abyss energy disappears, he has no place to replenish it. Once the abyss energy is exhausted, he only has spiritual energy to use, and the spiritual energy he can use is only half of that of an ordinary destiny realm. Headache. Yejing held his forehead and sighed. Abyssal energy now only exists in the geocentric space and the Kilin Mountains. If you want to spread the abyssal energy to the blue star or even the entire solar system, you need a lot of hellfire to burn. If so, there will be several blue stars to burn the hellfire. Forget it, it's an irreversible energy conversion anyway, and there's no way to change it back now. It should be a good thing after all. After all, it was the absorption of the huge abyssal energy left by the young Pluto that pushed the energy share to 50%. If it were in the Kilin Mountains, there would be no such abyssal energy for him to convert. After resting for a while, Yejing turned his attention to the entire blue star core. The highlight is here. Yejing looked thoughtful. How should I put this behemoth away? He must take the blue star core away. Rather than leaving it here for others to occupy, it is better to take it away and make some useful contributions. The blue star core is about 50 meters long, wide and high. It is a completely condensed existence of huge energy. The heart is empty, but the energy it possesses is real. After thinking for a while, Yejing entered the furnace space. This time, I didn't see the black and white cat being lazy. The black and white cat was in a state of ethereal light, flashing almost every second. Every time it flashed, it was accompanied by invisible energy fluctuations that spread around. Now the area around the black and white cat was like a calm lake with raindrops dripping continuously. Is this evolving a passive skill? Yejing thought. No, if it is a skill below the abyss level, then it may be a passive skill. But what about the abyss level passive skill? Hearing what the young Hades said before, he couldn't help but be a little confused. Could it be that the black and white cat evolved the magical power that the young Hades said? Get up. The most important thing now is to put away the blue star core. He ignored the evolving black and white cat and stepped forward to interrupt directly. What are you doing? Can't you see I'm busy? The black and white cat opened its yin-yang pupils and showed an extremely dissatisfied expression. Yejing said, wait a moment, I have some harvest, see if you can absorb and evolve them together. The previous amount was the energy of 1 billion spirit stones, and he didn't know what kind of passive skills could be evolved. But he knew that the more energy, the stronger the abyss level passive skills evolved. Harvest. The black and white cat's eyes lit up in an instant. How much? Is it low-level spiritual energy or abyss energy? It is planetary energy similar to spiritual energy but a little higher than spiritual energy. After Yejing said this, he exited the furnace space. He first drilled out the blue star core along the front road, then put his hand on its surface, and after a thought, he transferred the blue star core to the furnace space.